say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Someone touched me.
If you are really the one who is to come, or should we look for someone else?
Okay, I'm so excited because coming up is the premiere of this next season, and you're going to do it because you're going to bring it out in theaters, and it's going to be, 2 weeks or something? Or how long is it going to be in theaters?
I think it's going to be 2 weeks. I mean, I don't know the exact run, but I think it's, as long as it's people are buying tickets, they'll keep it there. But yeah, it won't be as long as a typical theatrical run because we're coming to streaming shortly after.
But we're excited about it, and we know that the audience wants to see it there especially after, you guys saw it on as the Chosen Christmas special last year, and it just did so well. So you kind of have those figures in mind, and how does it get you excited when you know that it's going to be in theaters?
Well, I just, I love movie theaters. I love going to the theater. I love, obviously it's wonderful when the audience has a chance to see our work on the big screen. They get a chance to see it together. There's something special about gathering and about watching, the lights go down and it's one of my favorite things in my whole life. And, what's cool about this is that I've had some theatrical failures. I mean, the failure of my movie, The Resurrection of Gavin Stone back in 2017 made me think, well, I'll never have another movie in theaters again. And what's funny is that movie probably didn't belong in theaters. I mean, I'm proud of the movie, but it's really more of a streaming kind of movie. And what's funny is I would have said the same thing about The Chosen. It's a TV show. I mean, it's not a movie, but yet that experiment we did last year with our Christmas special, without even trying, we were in the top 5 in the box office. And so this year it's like, okay, cool, let's try this again. But really, I don't care about the numbers. It genuinely is about, let's get people excited. Let's let them watch this experience this in a way that, you can't repeat anywhere else. And then it'll hopefully bring even more attention to the show and get people excited to watch the seasons 1 and 2.
And Gavin Stone, I do have to say, was a very funny movie. Very funny. And I actually
so were the box office numbers. Those were funny too.
I know. And I actually interviewed you for that, and that was a really long time ago. But anyways, let's talk about how, I think this is such a great thing to come back to the theaters because, 2 long years of COVID, things were in the theaters, out of the theaters for such a long time. But just bringing the Christian community and the communities that love Chosen, even if they're not Christian, back together at the theater. How do you guys feel about just that kind of community involvement?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, this show is more, I think, community focused than almost any project in history. And I think that's actually provably true by, just our social media engagement. There's other shows that do it really well and filmmakers that do it really well. So we're not the pioneers or anything, but we are very community driven, and our first season was completely crowdfunded, and our other seasons are funded by people who choose to pay for it because the show is free. So every single dollar that we have for production comes from people who didn't have to give it. Because they had a choice as to whether or not they wanted to pay for it. So we're very community focused and fan focused. And so the opportunity that they have to get together, the shirt that I happen to be wearing right now is a shirt that we said, look, this is our season 3 shirt, 3 fish. Get this and wear it to the theater. Let's build even more community. And already I've run into people who recognized me or whatever, and I happen to be wearing this shirt, and they want a picture with us wearing the same shirt. And we see people doing that on social media as well. So the opening weekend is going to be really fun because the average movie that gets out there, like even a movie like Top Gun, which I absolutely loved, you're not seeing people take selfies of them in their Top Gun shirts because it's just not that huge of a deal for them. But this show seems to have an unusual community resonance. And so you see people taking pictures of themselves wearing the gear or meeting other fans on the street. And there's going to be no greater opportunity for that than at the theater.
Well, it can be deeply personal to people, because, they live by their faith. And so then to see it portrayed in this way is just incredible. And each character has their own statement that they're making and reaching each and every, person in a different way. I really liked the theme. I haven't seen it yet, but I've been told the theme about, disability and the healing thing. Can you talk more about that kind of theme in there and what it means to be healed, or, if God's will is something different?
Yeah, that's the thing that we tackle this year, which is a challenge, because there's not too many examples in scripture of Jesus not healing someone, yet that there were plenty of people he didn't heal, because it's not like the entire region of Galilee had no sickness or disability while Jesus was there, and everyone died at some point. I mean, Jesus didn't raise everybody from the dead. So we go ahead and address those tough theological questions right out of the gate. We know in season 2 that little James, who's played by an actor, Jordan, who's handicapped, asked the questions, kind of to Thomas. They're having a conversation. He's like, I'm not sure why he hasn't healed me yet, and I'm afraid to ask him. Well, in episode 2 of season 3, which you can see in theaters, he asks it. There's an exchange where Jesus says, do you want to be healed? And he says, well, of course, if it's possible. And Jesus says, I think you've seen enough to know it's possible. And little James says, so why haven't you? And I think that's a question. Well, not I think, I know that's a question that millions and millions of people have asked and are asking. And we decided to go ahead and try to answer it. And that really, it's a risk. It's challenging, but I do believe that the answer that we portray is plausible and theologically sound, and also quite beautiful. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing that portrayed, because this theme of this season, come to me, you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. We don't skip over the weary and heavy laden part.
Well, I love that, because all, non-Christians or even Christians, we deal with those questions, even though, I've been, had faith for the last 34 years, my life, but I still ask questions that are hard questions. And I'm sure you do too, and every Christian. And so that's good that you guys actually delve into it. It's not just all fun and games, but it's the reality of being a Christian and living life, and having faith. And so, what was I want to know your favorite scene and your most challenging scene, but maybe they go together.
I would say they actually are good go together. There's a scene that I can't talk about that is turning out quite good. But I would say, the challenging scenes from this year are easily understood when you watch them. Like, I think when you watch the show, you can go, wow, I wonder how that happened. The most obvious is the feeding of the 5,000. That took place over the course of a couple of weeks, because as we like to do on The Chosen, we don't just get to a miracle and just show it and move on. We give you the context, culturally, historically, emotionally, spiritually. All of the disciples have something at stake when the feeding of the 5,000 happens. The audience that Jesus is preaching to has something at stake. So we took 2 weeks to film all this stuff, and over the course of 3 days, had 10,000 people show up, and managing that, and actually literally having to feed 5,000 people more than once in a day was extraordinarily challenging. The heat was borderline unbearable. I mean, we had multiple medical professionals out there dealing with people every 15 minutes. The heat was extreme. So that was really, really painful to do, but it was also exhilarating, because all these fans are so happy to be there, and they love the show so much, and they want to be part of something historic. And we're capturing something that happened 2,000 years ago that I really believe happened, and that I really believe was part of changing the world. And the feeding of the 5,000 story changed my life several years ago. The concept of it's not your job to feed the 5,000, only provide the loaves and fish, is the hallmark of our show. I'm wearing fish on my shirt. It's in the opening credits. It's just, the whole thing is just overwhelming. And I really can't wait to portray it and to show it to the world.
I'm the one who caused their hunger. I should be the one to feed them. What is stirring in your hearts? In the middle of such division and unrest, is Father God being revealed to you? Come to me.